Yep. Give me a nod when you're ready.
Like
Shooter's ready. Stand by.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Bullets and Bourbon. I'm Frank Gao, joined by my co-host, Matt Gunlock. Today, we are revisiting the Intergalactic Falling Steel match. Last time we talked about it, we talked with Darin about his time in the Marine Corps, and we talked about his philosophy and mindset in terms of hosting a match. We are about a month out from the match, and we want to cover some of the details as well as some of the changes. So, Darin, first question to you. We're about 6 weeks out.
Yep.
There have been some changes in terms of match leadership. Can you go into the reason why some of those shifts occurred so close to the match?
Sure. So there's no easy way to throw it out. So I'll just throw this out. Main reason. Okay, I came back from I went on a 2-week road trip with my kid, and so I got back, and leading up to a lot of the stuff the last few months, Chuck had kept hitting me up, who was going to be the range master, kept hitting me up about all these things he had to get done. He had all these priorities that were very important to him, which were things like buying nooks and timers. It was, making sure we had a special T-shirt for he and I, making sure that we had insurance, that he was on the insurance, and just all these kind of things that I'd been telling him for months. I'm like, well, that's all shit that I'm going to do when I come back from that road trip in August. We got 8 weeks out from then. I don't need to get, buy 12 nooks and timers in February. It doesn't make any sense, because the reality is that, 9 months out, that match could not happen still. At the time you have 6 people signed up, why are you going to spend $3,000 on stuff like that? Same with things like insurance. Insurance takes a day to get it. It's not a priority to knock that out 7 months out. It just doesn't, because they're going to ask you things like, how many competitors do you have? And you don't have that answer then. And so, from a planning point of view, I see all those things as like, you're just, cart's way in front of the horse here on some of these things. And so I'd kept telling him, said, hey, I'm going to address all that August when I get back, because we'll have 8 weeks. There's plenty of time for that stuff right now. The match is marinating through the summer. Just keep pushing the market of the match. Get people to sign up for the match. Get shooters to come shoot the match. And his job was to basically round up ROs. One of our things, I'll come get that later. One of our things in the very beginning, having this match, was that I was like, well, where are you getting ROs from? And that was his one thing. He insisted he could get 12 ROs locally, so we wouldn't need to go out and find ROs, because he knew all these people, he could get that done. Okay. Easy. You say you've got all these shooters, all these people and trust can do ROing. Great. So that was his one responsibility. And a lot of us will probably circle back to things, but long story short, that never happened. So, well, he keeps wanting to do these side things where I was already telling him I'm going to take care of. I started pushing back and saying, hey, well, do you have the ROs yet? And it's always like, well, I need 1 or 2 more. But the most he ever really had was 7, and that was including himself, which anybody who runs a match knows the range master is not an RO.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Right.
And so he's getting more and more frustrated with some of these things. And so, fast forward to about a month ago now, I come back from my road trip, and I walk in the house, and I find my wife has fallen on the steps and she's passed away. So that's what I come back to. Obviously nobody's ready for that. No, you don't plan for that. It's just, so, immediately I'm not in a good mental place, right away. Got a 12-year-old kid with me.
Right.
I reach out to some of my friends that are nearby, and they're all Marines. They get in a car, they drive 2 hours right away. They come out. One guy comes, his wife grabs my kid, runs her out to his house, and I've got the sheriff's department in my house for hours, and it's just I'm not in the headspace to do much of anything at that point. And next day it starts occurring to me that I've got I have a whole bunch of things that I'm gonna have to deal with. I've got to deal with my business still. I've been out of the shop for 2 weeks on a road trip, and now I'm stuck with this happens, and now I'm not going to work again. I tried to the next day, and and that was an absolute failure. I was good for about 8 minutes, and then I found myself sitting on my buddy's front porch up the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, day two, kind of after that happened, I reached out and I sent Chuck a text, and I said, "Hey, this is what just happened to my life. I'm going to ask Matt to step in and help me out with some stuff. I'm not quitting. I'm not going away. We're still having the match. I'm still going to make all the steel. I mean, nothing's changing. I am just not in a spot where I can, manage some of the things I need to manage. My headspace isn't there. Without a doubt, there's going to be things that I'm not going to see that I should see that I normally would. I wasn't there. Same time I reached out to Matt and I said, "Hey man, actually, I think I told him what happened." And then I had another buddy of mine, Rocky, I think is who reached out and mentioned it to him, because I told him, "Hey, can you tell Matt I'm going to need help with this match?" There was a couple of days there where I couldn't have a conversation. I couldn't talk to people on the phone. And I still have that problem with it now. So I'd ask Matt, because he's the one guy in the area that I know who has run matches. He, I know, can do this. And so, Chuck's response was kind of, that's terrible, man, whatever you need. The typical, I don't want to downplay like he was an asshole. He's like, "Hey, anything you need, this is terrible. What can I do?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I appreciate it, nothing. But I'm letting you know, I've asked Matt to step in and help me out with some stuff." And I said, if you can't work with him, I understand that, because whatever that personality conflict is with him, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense, because it didn't used to be that way. And so he didn't really respond to that. And he said, "Don't worry about that. I'll take care of the whole match myself." And right away, I'm like, "Well,
That's not what I asked you.
it's not what I'm asking. It's not what I asked at all. I'm just letting you know I'm not leaving. I don't need you to take care of everything, because, to be quite honest, you haven't taken care of the one thing that you were supposed to take care of, and it's been 7 months."
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked Matt. Matt's obviously like, "Yep, whatever you need. I'm on it." And so a day or so goes by, and I think I got on the phone with him finally. I said, "This is where I'm at. This is the things. Can you reach out to these people? Can you reach out to those people? Can you ask, talk to Lynn and Randy? Can you talk to this person, that person for me?" Just kind of basic admin stuff. I mean, I'm still plugging along with, taking care of stuff. I've still got my checklist of doing the stupid stuff like your insurances and T-shirts and all that crap. And so Matt says, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll make a chat group for the three of us. We all can stay on the same sheet of music. Everybody can keep each other informed what's going on. Just typical, planning stuff." And so he did that. And but Chuck never responded to it. Didn't respond to anything. Wouldn't respond to emails or texts about it. And so I'd ask Matt, "Hey, can you take a look at putting together a medical plan for us? So if we have some kind of, medical issue up there at the match, whether someone, ankle, heart attack, gets shot, whatever it is, so just so we know, there's a place to go, here's the phone numbers. This is where we're going. This is who's making phone calls. This is a safety vehicle. This is what we do if this happens, so that nobody has to guess." Just a simple plan, a sheet of paper that has, "No, we're not calling 911. This is a number we can call for this. This is a hospital we could go to. This is what we'll make a decision about who's going to transport someone if they have," just something as simple as that. And I'd asked Chuck to do it like a month earlier, and he really didn't do it. He kind of reached out to Lynn and Randy and just came back to me with, "Well, they say we're the first responders, and we'll do." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I know that." And I said, I need you to make a list, like I just said, of this and this and this. And he goes, "Well, I can reach out to Berkeley Ambulance and see what they charge for an ambulance." And I'm like, "Dude,
No.
I'm not trying to hire an ambulance to sit on a range for what the fuck are we talking about?" He's like, "Well, we can get an EMT, can take a class." And I'm like, "God damn it." I said, "I just need a list, phone, just simple stuff." And he kind of comes back, "Well, I've got something I use at my house. It's easy to brief." And I'm like, again, it's not what I asked. Just, can you give me you want to be the range safety guy. Can you give me the plan so that we all have, anybody can pick it up and see it. So if I'm the idiot who gets shot, and as I fall down, I shoot the range master, well, someone else can pick that up and still, carry the day." And so,
Right.
so I asked Matt, can you take a look at this for me? And it took, I think,
Less than an
30
hour.
minutes, maybe 38 minutes. And he comes back and he's got phone numbers and addresses and directions and just a broad plan of what we're going to do. This is what we're going to get. This is where we'll park it. I'm like, "Thank you. That's all I needed." And he said, "So should I tell Chuck this?" And I said, "Yeah, put it out on the chat group and ask him if he's got anything to add. If he sees it, he likes it, doesn't like it, wants to add something to it." And he did. And again, no response, no reply. And then I think it was maybe the next day he sends me an email and says, hey man, I wanted to talk to you before, but you had that life problem. So I think it's best that I just back out of the match. And it's this, 2-paragraph, 3-paragraph email that, I read it and I'm thinking, I'm at the lowest point in my life right here, right now. You're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 days after it. I still can't even really have a conversation. My life's a fucking mess.
Right.
Now, like, you're telling me that, this is so hard for you that you're going to quit now, 5, 6 weeks out from the match. And his reason is things like, well, we discussed this before and we agreed that there would be event insurance and that's never happened. And I just can't afford the liability if something should happen for me. And I'm like, I didn't even respond to it actually, but it was basically just a bunch of bullshit. And he flat out quit is what happened. And that's fine. If he wanted to quit, I should have let him quit 2 months ago when he was kind of trying to. I should have let him walk then. But I kind of stuck to this thing like, hey, man, you wanted to do this thing. Now we're doing this. And he kept making a big deal about other people helping out and stuff. But he wanted to be just the two of us. And so I kind of, supported that. And so he sends this email, kind of starts getting like this legalese thing about nobody should have any, doubt or anything that Hawk's Nest or Chuck Bolin are not involved with this match at all in any way, shape, or form. And so nobody should be confused that we have nothing to do with it at this point going forward. And please remove all emails and links and tags and pictures and all this bullshit. And I'm thinking, buddy, nobody fucking cares about you or what Hawk's Nest is. Nobody even knows what it is. It's your backyard thing. There's no website for it. There's no, give me a break.
I've never heard of it. Right. Is it based off Shadowhawk?
No,
it's
his own
based
thing
in his backyard.
He does training for people that he knows. There's not you're going to sign up for a curriculum. It's his own thing. Good for him. He thinks it's an empire, I guess. But again, he sees that as, make sure that nobody thinks I'm involved because this thing could go sideways and I could be liable. And I'm like, well, that was the case 6 months ago too. Mm. And so I started getting a little bit annoyed about this. And then I find out that he, from there, he makes a little post on the Facebook saying how, hey, everybody, just want everybody to know that, I've removed myself from the match, but I wish them all good luck. And I hope it's going to be a great match and it should be awesome. And then proceeded to go tell all the ROs that he'd rounded up, his 4 or 5 friends, basically, you better get away from this match. It's uninsured. It's not a sanctioned match. It's going to be, unsafe. You better, protect yourself. So, Matt reaches out to some of the ROs and that's their response back that, hey, we're out, I can't be a part of this. And it's no great loss because I don't even know who the hell any of them are. It ain't like they're, right, well-known competitive shooters. They're just some dude that he brought in, whatever. But, that's how we find out that we really didn't have any ROs, is where we're going with that. And the idea that he's telling everybody that there's no insurance for the match 7 weeks out, it's willfully lying to me. He's being willfully disingenuous to everybody that there's no insurance because as of today, it's already insured. Shadowhawk already has their certificate for the match. It's already, it takes a day to take care of. I told him we were doing all this when we got back. So it is insured. And he knew that. He knew that was going to be the case. And the thing that kind of annoys me is the fact that I'd asked him, I kind of implied this to him, like, well, don't you have insurance? He's like, well, yeah, but that's for my own thing. And it doesn't cover this. And I'm thinking, yeah, but if you have insurance and you have an insurance guy, you could have asked the insurance guy, hey, can I get a quote for how to cover this match? But he's not willing to do any of that work. He could have done this himself. If it was that important,
yeah,
he could have called his own insurance guy to find and get a quote and say, hey, man, this is what's going to cost us. Because it doesn't cost much. It just takes that 5-minute phone call that he wasn't willing to do.
Yeah. It was really just an easy exit for him. Having gone up there and practiced at Shadowhawk a few times when Quantico wasn't available, like Lynn and Randy would not let the match go if there were any of that kind of, if there was that level of liability, they would straight up just not help.
You're exactly right. And I've known Lynn and Randy for a decade. And we talked about that when I went up there, we discussed it. And she said, just make sure we have the insurance. I said, yeah, we're gonna take care of that later in the year. And she's like, yeah, I know. It's all good as long as we have it before the match starts. Yeah. And so, and that's just, it was an easy way for him to quit. And what it comes back to is he never had any skin in the game. He didn't have any no financial commitment to it, no money in the game. He didn't, it's all coming out of, I'm paying for it all. Obviously there's match fees, but he had no skin in the game. So it's easy to walk away and quit from that. he's worried about like the reputation or the liability of Hawk's Nest. And again, nobody knows what that is. Nobody cares what that is. And so he did that. He basically went behind, after that. He went and intentionally tried to sabotage the match. He tried to dump all the ROs, 5 weeks out, and then he went and basically did the same thing and slandered the thing to Red Hill Tactical. And same thing. So here's a guy that comes onto the match, as a sponsor, costing him nothing, not paying to be a sponsor, but he was going to be able to get out there, be in front of people. It was supposed to be like, for people in the local area kind of thing. And then all of a sudden Chuck's trying to throw him half the expense or half the money from the side match and all this stuff. It's all about hooking up his friends. Mm-hmm. And so when Matt reached out to him about, are you still in? The guy, it's a 2-word response, we're out. And it's like, fuck you, Rob King. You could never reach out to me or talk to me about what's going on with the match or what's going on with anything. You just took whatever Chuck Bolin told you about no insurance. And this guy's, he brought in Matt Gunlock, who's flying by the seat of his pants and doesn't know what he's doing. That's just willfully, that's just disingenuous right out of the gate. That's just intentionally trying to sabotage the match. And if you know a history of this guy, he's done this on multiple occasions to multiple businesses and people in the last several years. So, to wrap that up, make no mistake, Chuck Bolin and Hawk's Nest have nothing to do with the Intergalactic Falling Steel Shootout Championship, not in any shape or form at all. So, if your intention was to come out there and see if you could sue somebody, it's not going to be Chuck. He won't be there. So, and that's what he wants. Good. So good riddance. No great loss in a matter of a week. Matt's rounded up, 11 ROs. He's stepped in and taken care of a lot of stuff for me. And so there's your leadership change. I asked him to step in and help me out, and he's, not just helped me out, he's kind of done most of everything. So it's a change for the better. It's a change. It is what it is. A change for the better.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like things shifted instantly. You asked him to do something and he was responsive and did it within an hour. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's no longer associated with him and whatever Hawk's Nest is, but I honestly believe that the Falling Steel match is going to be a lot better for that. With Matt's inclusion, were you the reason that a lot of the Marine Corps shooting team is now shooting on staff day, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And those guys.
I reached out to Alex and I was just like, hey, dude, I'm in a bind. I need help. And Alex, I told Alex, go King, the situation. And Alex was like, I love Darin. He's fucking awesome people. I love you. I want to fucking help you out. Like, what do you need? And, he immediately just got, I think seven or 8 guys from the shooting team. He reached out to Kevin, to Marcus, and brought people within the shooting community over to help RO. It's like, I just had to reach out to 1 or 2 people. And then all of a sudden we have a whole team of ROs. And it was like, and that was within a day of Darin asking me, hey, can you step in and help out with this? Absolutely, man. I got your back. Let's do this. And like within 2 days, I knew that we were going to be in a good spot.
And ROs was always the big question from the beginning. And the second that he quit, I think I told Matt this. There was no doubt in my mind that those guys would all quit too. He's going to take that with him. Yeah. And he had no intention of trying to, gracefully back out and tell those guys, hey, stick in there, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he intentionally did that to try to make the thing look bad, because he went and told, and then he called Shadowhawk a few times and emailed Lynn and Randy and tried to tell them that, he's brought in Matt Gunlock and he doesn't know what he's doing. And Lynn's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. And he's reached back out to you. Do you guys understand that I'm not a part of this, right? And it's just like, dude, nobody cares.
Lynn and Randy, they have an excellent relationship with us over at the Marine Corps shooting team in Quantico, and Matt by extension. Every time I go up there and practice, they're like, we're so sorry. We know you're a match director. We know you know what you're doing, but we have to have someone spectate you while you're practicing, just for our liability insurance. Yeah. So, but they are professionals. That's a very professionally run range. Yep. They have matches every single weekend. Yep. So yeah, they're not.
I mean, Lynn and Randy have known me for the better part of 6 years. Like,
yeah, but it's not some Bush League, FUD board of directors run
Nope.
club. It's two individuals that literally make their livelihood off hosting training and
and
matches.
they've been through some shit with like the Peacemaker thing years ago, so they're pretty on top of the legal side of it. What when people want to start pushing those buttons, so they're not going to take chances of letting someone come up there with 100+ people to shoot a match and say, yeah, you're uninsured. Let's go ahead, have fun, guys. Whatever. It's not going to happen. No one's going to do that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. But okay, so Matt, you've stepped in and you've instantly, you've brought in ROs. You've been a lot of value added already. But stepping into a project that's halfway there with the kinds of time constraints that you guys have isn't an easy thing to do. So how did you initially like organize how you would get involved in order to set yourself up for success?
So, I mean, I took the good old Marine Corps approach. I mean, this isn't anything that's new to me. Whenever I was on the shooting team, I was part of 28 Marine Corps marksmanship competitions and Marine Corps championships. So I kind of already had a framework in my head. And in many cases, this was much easier than what we have to deal with at the Mix because I don't have to provide ammo or lodging or any of that type of stuff. And, you know, uh, so I just created a checklist of, hey, as a team, what do we have to get done? All right, we need liability waivers, we need insurance, we need ROs, we need we need to sort out food for not just the ROs, but like, hey, if the competitors want to have something to eat, which Darin was already on top of that. So like, even though like I knew that there was stuff getting done, I just created a checklist and had both, initially Chuck and Darin on it. I wanted to create a checklist so I'm not flying by the seat of my pants, and so we are all like on the same page, knowing what's getting done and who's taking care of what. And I mean, quite honestly, I'll read the response I got back from that. And the response was, "I am Oconus through Monday. I'll address upon return." That very much condescending tone, through a text. Like, I don't really care what you have to say or what you're doing. I knew we needed the emergency medevac plan. Darin asked me to handle that. I took care of that. So I wanted to make sure all things safety and all things match administration were taken care of. And that's where I've kind of been focusing my efforts. Like Darin and I, since February, Darin asked me, because I told him, hey, I have this simulator called Practice Sim where we can build stages in it. And so Darin came up with stages, and I was like, hey, why don't we do this, or we can come up with this. And so since now that I'm on board, I went over to Darin's house and I was like, hey, let's put all these stages in the program and screw around and see what we come up with. And we have all the stages taken care of by design. So all that we really have left to do now is the week that the match is happening. We just got to take all the steel up there and then build the stages. And we Darin and I talked about a plan to do that today. Hey, how are we going to do this? And we came up with a plan in order to handle that. And so it very well is a well thought out match, both by Darin and myself, and it's going to go off without a hitch.
How would you describe your philosophies on stage design and the process of basically merging them together into one unified vision?
So I think Darin and I kind of have a consensus in this. We're tired of burner stages, like the insta happy frickin' stages where everybody can just burn it down. We want to see some type of technical aspects to it. We want to challenge people. We want people to have those hard lanes. We want to give them challenging targets, and we want them to have fun. We want them to see stuff that you haven't seen in about 10 years plus in shooting, because I would say it was probably around 6 years ago that everything became fast burner paper stages. Darin?
yeah, I mean, I think I said this before. Like I got into competitive shooting outlaw steel matches, and I didn't start with USPSA. I kind of went to that later, and I stayed away from that because I didn't like the extra rules of things. It was just easier to shoot steel, and so if you shot steel only matches, obviously you can't put steel 3 feet in front of you. You can't put it around the inside of a corner that you lean around it. The barrel is 2 inches off the paper. Well, there's nothing challenging about that. You're just going to stick the gun around the corner and bang, bang, and you're done. So I've never liked those kinds of things anyway. And there's some, not to say there's not some really challenging stuff out there, because I've shot area matches, and there's plenty of stages that have eaten my lunch, but there's a lot of them that I would watch that hugely cater to guys shooting PCC or open now, which have, 30-40 round mags.
Mhm.
For a single stack shooter, it's horrible when every position has, 10 shots. And I'm like, God damn it. And it's like magazines are on the barrels. Like, well, a PCC guy or open guy doesn't care. So I've never liked that kind of stuff anyway. And so I've always just felt like there's got to be some fast stuff, some slow stuff, some technical stuff, some stuff that just doesn't flow, some stuff that what a good shooter will look at and know how to make it flow, where everybody else just see trip all over themselves. So that's what I kind of like. Something that, it makes you move. It's got to be some physical, some stuff up, some stuff that you can laugh at. And so back to the days I remember when I first started shooting, when you're the guy who has to go first, and you're kind of like, well, shit, and then you realize that you went first and nobody does it the way you did it because it was terrible. Where a lot of the stages I see, a lot of the paper matches now, it's like it's pretty straightforward. Draw a gun and hammer away, and you're kind of done. So that's kind of I just like things that are more challenging, not so easy. I mean, I don't like stages that are done in 12 seconds, 15 seconds. You see people shoot a 10 stage match and they did 130 seconds, 150 seconds for all of it. I'm like, wow, that doesn't seem like a whole lot of challenge. And so, we've put in some stuff. I think I've come up with maybe 15 or 18 stages over the year. And then I started bouncing this off Matt a little while ago. And we go back and forth and stuff, because there's things that he sees that I'm looking past. I don't see it. And then it makes sense. Like, well, that makes perfect sense. That's a good idea. And so I think it's like, one of the better things is communication wise is it's not, it's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of, hey, this is what I'm thinking. It's not like, well, hey man, we can't do that. We got to do this. We got to think about, we can't, you have to pick up shotgun shells. Well, who gives a shit? Well, we got to do this. The fat people are not going to run. Well, I don't care. Either don't be fat, or I don't tell you, or take the penalty. People don't want to shoot from that position because it's unsafe. I'm like, well, then they should get better or take the penalty. And so, I'm just a believer that if I can put something on each stage that will hopefully take, people out of comfort zones, so that there might be someone out there who has an opportunity to win a stage or carry them higher up in the standings because they're willing to do uncomfortable things. So that's kind of my philosophy on it. And like I said, communication wise between the two I think works well, because it's not a lot of, it must be my way. We have to do it this way. I want this. It's like, well, I think this and I think that. And somewhere we figured it out. So.
Yeah, I remember walking stages at a match once, and I heard someone say, man, they don't make any of these stages for old people. Like a serious, like bitching.
Right.
I almost want to turn around and be like, go practice. Go.
That's exactly right.
Go shoot on an indoor range. Like, why did you even come out here? Why should our stages be catered to you and your physical capabilities? But I hear a lot about being technical and pushing people and challenging people. And it's steel, so there's going to be makeups. But what are we looking for in terms of minimum round count?
I think we're at 245.
Yep, 245.
I think, and that's 245. But there's some spinners in there. So, if you've never shot a spinner, it'd be fun to watch. So there's things like that. So 245, and you start having some of the big stars and double stars, and it's like, well, they're on there, but you might want to bring 500.
And it's going to be awkward positions too. So, don't think you're going to be getting some easy shots there. Like, you're going to have to shoot a pistol potentially from a sitting position or a prone position. So you're going to have to plan it out.
Good times. What do you all see as like the success end state for this match?
For me, from day one, when we first put this thing together back in January, my idea of success would have been 100 paid shooters. That's what I said. 100 paid shooters. I feel like that would have been success for a first year out. Chuck's idea was we'd sell out 250 shooters in the first week. And I know that's not the case. That's not reality. I get that. Big matches have been around for years, do that kind of stuff, but that's not the case. And so my thought was, if we could get 100 paid shooters I would call that success. And I would temper, the amount of steel or the amount of, stuff or how big you want to build this thing out based on how many people we started seeing showing up. Because, in his mind, was like, we're gonna have 250 shooters, so we need to make this thing, I mean, bigger than nationals of everything combined in the world. I mean, I'm like, no, man, I'm not doing 40K worth of steel and building stages with 50 counts, all this shit when you have 32 people show up. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
And so my thought was 100 page shooters, and we're close to that. We're flirting with it. We just before I logged in, 2 more people signed up. And so I think we have 117, 100 and something, I think 117 registered, and there's still like 15 people out there floating around who haven't paid still. So in my mind, that's a no. Until you paid, you're a no. It's easy to sign up for stuff and then not show. It's easy to sign up to be the range master and then quit. Those things are easy. If you got no stake, if you got no skin in the game, it's easy to walk away from it with no repercussions.
Right.
So
it's easy to match on Tinder and then set up a date and just never
absolutely.
show up.
Yep. So that's what I call success, is 100 page shooters. And then from there, we can make a decision on if we want to come back and play next year or what we'd modify, what would make better, and kind of a learning experience for, what type of people are going to come to this match, because it does overlap Maryland State, same weekend, and they're both 1-day matches.
I've been trying to sell it that way. Like all the big USPSA crowd, I'm like, hey, if you're shooting on 1 day, like come to Shadowhawk, like they're relatively close driving distance. So I have gotten a few people to sign up that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to hear that you guys are close to 100. That is good for a first time match.
Yep. So as of now, I think if the 2 people just signed up, if they pay their invoices, that will be 100 people shooting, and that 100 right now counts the RO squad. But if the other 15, 18 people that are registered haven't paid, we're looking at 118, 115. So we'll see. Now I'd be happy with 100. So
yeah. And there's also a surprising level like competition coming out too. You have Mike Wong, who just won Area 6, is coming out.
That guy's always been good. I've known that guy for years.
Yeah. No, he's fantastic. Kicked my ass at Delmarva.
Well, shoot, don't discount yourself. I mean, you're coming out too, so you have greatness in you.
Yeah, like, we'll see. There's always a better Asian with the open gun, I found.
Get James Hahn out here.
I'll hit him up. Yeah, he's starting to shoot again. Yeah, I should hit up the Capsa guys. But yeah, no, I mean, there's some really good competition. Cardi B is going to be out there with his PCC. Joe Livy's shooting, so yeah, should be a lot of great competitions coming out.
And the thing about that too is like I've talked to Matt about this a lot too. Is like my a lot of the thing for me, this is a marketing thing for me too. Like that's I've got a photographer coming out that I'm paying to come out and shoot this thing.
Right.
And so, I'm using this also as a lot of marketing. So it's not going to be like you'll see a bunch of people with their Instagram cell phone video as it goes. There should be some professional video, pictures, drone. Obviously it's for my business, but at the same time, there will be legit, shots out there, the whole thing too. And so,
right,
because the Marine Corps shooting team's coming up on Friday, I'm having focus really on them, and I'm hoping they're wearing their jerseys, whatever their stuff is. So,
they will.
That can be some good stuff too. So.
Yeah, speaking from the marketing perspective, a falling steel match is perhaps the most visually appealing or most spectator friendly version of our sport, right? Because like everyone's had parents or just like whatever. Sometimes you see girlfriends and wives that get dragged out to the range, but like when people are shooting paper, like it's like some of those Olympic sports where you really don't know the score until everything's calculated, right? But with the steel, there's this instant feedback. You instantly know like what their what someone's raw time is or final time.
You're right, and it's incredibly impressive to watch somebody walk through 10 plates really fast. So you do the same thing on paper, it just doesn't have the same effect because nothing's moving.
Because there could be and there could be a mic in there.
Yep. Right. Yep. So it's impressive to see good shooters on steel, in my opinion, especially when things are moving.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's and then it's super fun for the shooter too. Yeah, lots of benefits to steel for sure. You talked about Red Hill, and personally, I think you guys can find a better sponsor because Red Hill will sponsor anybody who's willing to, wear their logo.
And
Them,
they were
them and
clearly not
Lock,
there to sponsor me.
yeah,
Sponsor the match.
them and Lock Grips, they have like no discernment whatsoever. They
Yeah.
will sponsor anybody under the sun with a pulse.
Yeah.
But who is stepping in and running that side stage?
So when I reached out to Lynn and Randy, and I told them, because she told me that Chuck had reached out to her and said how he's out and he's worried about this and Matt that and all this stuff. And so I told her, I gave her a call. So I had to see what damage he had done there. And as I expected, absolutely none. All he did was validate their opinion of him, I think is what happened. And I told him about Red Hill Tactical, and they were kind of of the same opinion there. And so I got off the phone with her, and 20 minutes later, Randy called me back, and he says, "Hey man, I called Green Monster up here, and they'll come out there and do the side stage for you. They're gonna come out there, and they might give a gun away."
Nice.
So I mean, same thing. Like I've known those people for over a decade, Lynn and Randy, and they run a good show. And so they reached out right away to somebody up there that I don't personally know them, but they work with them all the time, and so they're going to come out there. And that's one of the things we got to reach out to them and tighten some stuff up still. But it's going to be a steel challenge stage that you run. Top time is what's going to be something to that effect. But that's you stepping in to take care of that.
Honestly, in terms of having sponsors, I think that's the best. That's one of the better case scenarios, simply because they're a local FFL, and I think people are more likely to go and actually patronize them. They've sponsored several matches up there. They have a very good relationship with Shadowhawk, so that's and honestly, they've even I think they've set up a system for certain matches where if you bought a suppressor from them, you can actually go and shoot it at Shadowhawk.
They do. Randy has told me that before. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, which is really cool. That's a really unique setup that not a lot of ranges have available to their customers.
Yep.
But that pretty much wraps up the questions I had for you guys at this point. Are there any other shout outs you'd like to give?
I mean, for me, it's basically for my life situation that I'm going through right now, my biggest shout out is going to be to just Marines in general. Because of all the people that I've reached out, all the people that dropped what they were doing to come help, it's all Marines. Like it was hear that stuff. But that's really who it is. It's like buddies I've known 30 years, drive down from Pennsylvania, come out from Manassas and come take care of my life, move into my house with me and stay here to make sure that they're the ones dealing with the sheriff's department, dealing with life insurance people. So so I can sit there and just be a blubbering mess of shit. So and then same thing, the shooting team, they come out there and kind of, pull me out of the fire for the RO thing. So for me, it's Marines in general. And then Randy and Lynn have stuck by me real well with this thing, and they're all on board. So that's who I've got. I could shout out to Matt, but I won't. So
we all know you love me.
You got somebody.
No, I mean, as far as my shout outs, I would say the Marines,
like Weissman and Shelton, Brittany,
Chris Wiseman, Shelton, Brittany, Kevin, Marcus, like everybody that's going to be coming out and helping out. Like, just thank you. Lynn and Randy, like after Darin asked me to step in, I called them up asking, hey, can we use your tablets and timers? Like, we don't want to pay for that stuff just yet, just because like this is a first year match. Why would we? Can we borrow your stuff? And they're like, absolutely, whatever you guys need, like you guys get the full work. So it's been really great, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I think a match, when it's working at its best, the entire community pitches in and makes it a really good event. And it seems like that's what's happening here. Glad to see that you guys are working together super well. Unless Matt's just waiting till like 2 weeks away from the match, just to tell you that he's going to Oconus to quit.
Yes.
But to everyone that's sitting on the fence and hasn't signed up or hasn't paid yet, I'll give you 3 reasons. Steel is really fucking fun to shoot, and the stuff that Darin puts out is very high quality. You have the opportunity to buy some of it, take it home if you really want. There's going to be some really good competitors at the match, but also the RO staff is going to be fantastic. The Marine Corps shooting team guys, they work a lot of matches. Those are by far some of the best ROs, some of the most energetic and dedicated ROs that you're going to find in the country. And then lastly, Darin's right. Like, a lot of cell phone camera isn't great, but Downforce Media is going to be out there taking really high quality photos. So if you want an actually nice photo of you shooting for once, I would come out to the match. That's all I have. Sign up for the match. Hope to see you out there, and we'll catch you on the next one.